The shooting range buzzed with the low murmur of voices, the sharp crack of distant gunfire, and the clinking of shell casings hitting the concrete. It was a Saturday afternoon, and the regional shooting competition in Ashburn, Georgia, had drawn an impressive crowd. Everyone was gathered to see Cole Maddox, five-time champion, military veteran, and local legend. Tall, muscled, with a jaw that looked carved from stone, Cole had the kind of presence that turned heads even before he picked up a rifle. Nobody noticed the woman who walked in behind him. She was quiet, dressed in a faded blue coat and jeans that had seen better days. Her hair was pulled back into a messy bun. No makeup, no smile. Just a pair of calm, unreadable eyes that swept over the room as she signed her name at the front desk. Karen L., it said. No last name. No fanfare. The young volunteer behind the counter barely looked up. Spectators wait outside. I'm not a spectator, she said. I'm here to compete. He blinked. You sure? This is a pro-level comp. She slid forward a worn leather case and opened it just enough for the glint of steel to show inside. I'm sure. Still, as she made her way to the preparation area, heads turned, but not out of respect. Whispers followed her like shadows. Who let her in? She's going to embarrass herself. Maybe she thought this was a knitting club. Cole Maddox, overhearing the murmurs, glanced in her direction and laughed. Someone get Granny a pair of binoculars. Maybe she can spot for the real shooters. Karen didn't flinch. She found her lane, unpacked her rifle, an old Winchester Model 70, clearly well-maintained but nothing fancy, and began her routine. No one offered to help. No one welcomed her. The announcer's voice echoed through the range. First up, Cole Maddox, reigning champion. Let's give him a round of applause. The crowd roared. Cole stepped into position, loaded his high-tech AR-15 with practiced ease, and unleashed a rapid burst of shots. The bullets punched through the paper targets with brutal precision. When the scores popped up on the screen, the range exploded in cheers. Perfect score. Again. Then came Karen's turn. There was an awkward silence as her name was called. No one clapped. She walked to the line, calm, slow. Every move she made was measured. She loaded a single round into the bolt-action rifle. People smirked. One bullet? That's all? Cole leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Maybe she's saving the rest for when she wakes up from this dream. Karen raised the rifle, inhaled slowly and held it. The moment stretched. One breath, one shot, crack, silence. Then the score lit up, and jaws dropped. Dead center. A perfect bullseye. But not just perfect. Deeper than any previous shot. Deeper than Cole's. The system blinked twice, recalibrated, and confirmed it. She'd just broken the standing record. Gasps rippled through the room. The judges exchanged glances. One of them actually stood up to inspect the target himself. Is this a glitch? Someone whispered. The judge came back, his face pale. No glitch. That was the cleanest shot I've ever seen. Karen stepped back, face expressionless. Cole stood, eyes narrowing. Lucky shot. Next round, Cole again. This time there was tension in his grip. His smile was gone. He fired, solid, impressive, but this time not perfect. Karen followed. Another shot, another record-breaking mark. Now people were leaning in, murmuring. Who is she? She's not just good, she's unreal. Someone whispered, I think I've seen her before. Wasn't there a sniper team that... But before the rumor could finish forming, the third round began. Cole was now visibly frustrated. His next volley was rushed, still high scoring, but cracks were showing in the legend. Karen? She didn't rush. She didn't smile. She simply obliterated the target again. This time through the same hole as the first shot. The crowd went silent. The judges stepped away for a private huddle. One of the other competitors, a tall man with a tactical vest, stepped forward. Ma'am, are you ex-military? Karen turned to him, finally speaking. I used to teach them. Whispers turned to stunned silence. Cole stormed toward her, face red. You think you're better than me? I served 2 tours in Fallujah. I bled for this country. Karen didn't blink. And I trained the men who kept you alive. It was like a gut punch. The final round came. Cole's hands trembled. He fired, his worst round yet. Solid, but nowhere near Karen's territory. Karen took her time. Last bullet, last shot. Crack. The screen blinked. A new record. Again. Then the system flashed something unexpected. Perfect round. All shots through single entry point. Unprecedented. People surged forward, reporters shouting questions, shooters trying to speak with her. Karen calmly packed up her rifle. One reporter reached her before she could leave. "Ma'am, just one question. Who are you?" She glanced back, the ghost of a smile on her lips. "Just a simple woman who doesn't like being underestimated." And then she was gone. But the legend of Karen L. had just begun. The air at the range was still buzzing with disbelief long after Karen had walked out. Nobody even noticed that Cole had disappeared from the building altogether. His reputation, once untouchable, had been shattered in front of the very crowd that once worshipped him. Karen didn't stick around for handshakes or trophies. She slid behind the wheel of her dusty old truck and drove away before the sun dipped below the pine trees. The road ahead was quiet, just like she liked it. But what she didn't know, or maybe what she didn't care about, was that her performance had already set something larger into motion. 3 days later, a black SUV pulled into the driveway of her modest cabin on the outskirts of Jasper County. She saw the dust before she saw the vehicle. By the time the men stepped out, she was already on her porch, cleaning the same Winchester she'd used at the range. One of the men wore a gray suit, clean, sharp, federal type. The other wore a black polo shirt and combat boots, clearly military. The suit spoke first. "Miss L., my name's Agent Merrick. We'd like a word." Karen didn't move. "If you're here about the competition, save it. I'm not interested in sponsorships, interviews, or whatever else they sent you to offer." Merrick smiled politely. "This isn't about fame. This is about something bigger." The man in the black polo stepped forward. "You were part of Project Shadeback, Delta Program, Sniper Wing, confirm or deny?" Karen's face didn't change. "That program was shut down 10 years ago." "Yes," the man said, "after it successfully eliminated 6 high-value targets in 3 continents with 0 civilian casualties, targets that no drone or team could even get close to. You were the ghost they sent when everything else failed." Silence. Then Karen nodded once. "You came all this way to dig up ghosts?" Merrick pulled out a tablet and tapped the screen. A grainy satellite image came up. Desert terrain, some kind of compound. "This is in eastern Niger, new mercenary group, training camps, high-value smuggling networks, and recent intelligence suggests they've recruited 2 former Shadeback assets." Karen's jaw clenched. She didn't need to ask which ones. "They've gone rogue?" she asked quietly. "Worse," Merrick said. "They're leading the operation, and they know every trick in our book. We need someone who can beat them, someone who taught them in the first place." Karen sighed and stood, staring into the woods beyond her property. It had been 10 years since she picked up a rifle for anything other than sport. 10 years of silence, of regret, of trying to forget what she once was. "You don't understand," she said slowly. "Those boys, I trained them to kill without blinking. They'll anticipate every move I make." Merrick's voice lowered. "That's why we need you, because you're the only one who'll know what they won't expect." A long pause. Then Karen looked down at her rifle. "This time," she said, "we do it my way." 1 month later, headlines screamed across international news. "Mysterious strike dismantles, rogue mercenary base." Overnight, no survivors, no traces, no known forces involved. A photo taken from miles away by a drone showed a single spent casing left on a rock overlooking the compound. Etched into its side were 3 letters, KL. Back in Georgia, at the Ashburn shooting range, a new plaque had quietly been added to the wall. Record holder, Karen L. 5 clean shots, 1 hole. No interviews, no press releases, just a legend. And somewhere far away, in a quiet cabin surrounded by pine trees, Karen L. sat alone, sipping black coffee, listening to the wind, with her rifle resting by the door, just in case someone else needed a reminder. Never underestimate a simple woman with a past.